Hey everyone, Andrew Fazekas here, your host for the night sky this week. Welcome, wherever you're joining me from. I hope you're having a great morning, afternoon, or maybe an evening, wherever you are. Hope you had some nice weather, maybe perhaps this past week. Did you do some stargazing? I'd love to hear in the comments. Let me know. And I'd love to hear where you're watching from. I see Suna's there. Hi, Suna from Turkey. Nice of you to join us. And of course, wherever you are, just pop it into the comments. I'd love to hear where you're located. And if you find value in this video, please do share it. Do subscribe to my channel, my Facebook page, Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube, wherever you're watching. It means a lot, your support for me to bring these videos every week into your homes and sharing some little tidbits about what you can see in the skies above wherever you are around this world. So great to see you. I see TJ from Oklahoma. Great to be here. Ron from Alberta is here watching as well on Facebook. Great. Listen up, guys. First up, before I even begin with the night sky, I have to talk about the upcoming annular solar eclipse. So this is a big deal for those of you that are living across the Americas. So this is North America, Central America, South America. Particularly, these regions are going to be blessed with a beautiful solar eclipse. The vast majority, of course, across these continents are going to see what's called a partial solar eclipse. And there's going to be lucky people who are along a small strip of land across the continents that will see what's called a ring of fire solar eclipse or an annular solar eclipse. So the setup here, let me show you what I'm talking about and where you got to be to see and what you're going to see depending on where you are. I like to use my friends at timeanddate.com to give me a lay of the land of what's going on. And let me just showcase that to you here. So this is on timeanddate.com. They've got a great overall map of the sky, I should say the land and where continents and where the eclipse is going to be visible. So you can see the shaded area. Everything that's shaded across these continents on Saturday, this coming October 14th, will see a part of the show. The idea of the moon going in front of the sun. And that's what's happening. The moon is going to go in front of the sun. But how much of the moon will be covering the disk of the sun will really, what you're going to see depends on where you are along this shaded line. And you can see the red line here, that thin red line. Anyone across that thin red line, if you're in that location, anywhere along this little red strip of land, or in some cases the ocean here and water, you are going to be able to see the moon go right completely in front of the disk of the sun. And remember, we're talking about what's called an annular eclipse, right? So an annular eclipse is really when you have the sun being covered, but not the entire disk. A little ring of the sun will be visible around the edges of the moon. So the moon is just slightly smaller than the disk of the sun. This happens sometimes when the moon is going in front of the sun, it's smaller. And if it is, you see a ring of sun. So it doesn't get completely dark. It's not a total solar eclipse where we have totality, where it gets very, very dark. That'll happen, by the way, on April 8th, 2024. So 6 months from now, we'll be able to see a total eclipse over North America. But this one is an annular one, and it's also called a ring of fire because it looks like a ring of sun, of fire around the moon when you're along this strip of land that you see that I'm kind of scrolling across. So the show begins around 9:15 in the morning in Oregon, the state of Oregon, and then you can see that the strip of land that is where you get to see the annularity, the ring of fire, goes through Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, Texas, and then goes over the Gulf of Mexico. And then you can see it touches areas like Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama, Colombia, and then goes across in Brazil, and goes off into the Atlantic here in the late afternoon. So all of this starts in the morning around 9:15. So skywatchers across Americas, except of course Alaska and the southern tip of South America, are going to be able to see this amazing annular eclipse. You can see, I'm just going to zoom out here so you can see the whole thing. So this narrow track where the annularity, or the ring of fire that's going to be visible, will begin near Eugene, Oregon. So that's over here up in this part at 9:15 a.m. Pacific time. And then from there, it's going to sweep across the southeast through, like I said, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, and Texas. Corpus Christi, Texas is going to see an annularity about 5 minutes, and it's going to be centered around 11:50 a.m. Central Time. And then it'll go through the Yucatan Peninsula, like I said, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama, Colombia, Bogota, just south of Bogota in Colombia, and central Brazil. And then it'll go offshore at around 1947 GMT time. So I'll post the link to this because you guys can look at this for yourself and see how that affects wherever you are. I'm just going to put it in the comments, and there's the link so you guys can look at that. We've got folks all right, from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Jesse's on here. And we've got John also asking about what's the path of totality in April. Well, in April, the path of totality will go kind of the opposite, from Texas all the way through Canada and southern Ontario, Quebec, into the Atlantic provinces. So it'll be like pretty much like I'm showing you with my mouse. That's how the April eclipse is. Texas is going to be, southern Texas is blessed with both of these eclipses. It's really, really neat. That's kind of like the place to be in southern Texas, near Austin, Texas, really. But in this one, on this Saturday, folks along all these other places will see what's called a partial eclipse. So if you have solar eclipse glasses, then you can watch this very safely with your eyes. I'm going to be located in Montreal, Canada. That's where I'm located. So I'll see a partial eclipse. For me, you can see if I zoom in, there's Montreal. I'm located here. For me, this is what the sun will appear. This will look like a bite taken out of where I am. And if I go closer, and you can see if I go closer to the red line, like in Louisville, Kentucky, look, you see almost half of the disk of the sun from Louisville. If I go even closer, like Memphis, Tennessee, in that region, look at that. You get 60% of the sun covered up by the moon. And if you're in Dallas, Texas, you can see even more. It's dramatic. You just see a thin crescent sun. And if you're inside this zone, as you can see, like San Antonio, Texas, if you're lucky enough to be there, you'll see what's called the annularity. And you can see that means you see a little ring of the sun around the edges of the limb of the moon. So this is October 14th. So this coming up Saturday, this is what everyone's talking about, of course. Now, before I continue, my friends at Astronomers Without Borders, you may remember I do help them out. I work with them, and they've released a wonderful Eclipse app. It's kind of like the thing you want to have in your pocket. It goes on your phone. It's on for iPhones. So just so that it's not available for Androids just yet. Probably for the April eclipse it will be, but it's really cool. It's just an app you can upload. It's $1.99, and half of the proceeds of this app, you can see, click on it and it opens up the app and it gives you an interactive eclipse map where you can see wherever you are in the world. You just basically pop it in, like in Cincinnati, for instance. If that's where I want to go, I can actually see what it looks like from that location. It's really easy. Plus, it also has Eclipse viewing safety guide. It has all kinds of things on this. I'm going to put a link for where you can get more information about it. But basically, 50% of the proceeds go in to help with Eclipse recycling of glasses that AWB does. Astronomers Without Borders basically collects glasses from each eclipse and then sends them off around the world to other underserved communities who can reuse these glasses. Of course, they're vetted, they're looked at, make sure they're safe, and then they're packed and sent off to these other locations in the upcoming months and years. So it's really, really a neat way to do some good. You get a great app that will help you understand everything about this eclipse and how to watch it and when and where to watch it from. It makes it very easy to do that. I'm going to put a link to the app page, the landing page, so you can read all about it, what's included, what you can do. You can share your stories. It's really good. So 50% of this goes to doing good in the world. It goes to this 501c nonprofit. And it's just I love helping out AWB, and this is a great way for them to raise funds. It's a fun way. You get something really fun on your phone that's useful to enjoy with this eclipse. And what's better is that it will be updated for the next eclipse in April. There'll be more features added in. So you're kind of being part of a growing community with this app, and you're helping this nonprofit along the way, and you'll be informed about all the great things that are going to happen with your purchase with this app. It's $1.99, less than a cup of coffee, and you get to do good in the world. It's really neat, and you have fun along the way with this app. So check it out. I put the link in the comments. That's it for that. Let's head over to the night sky and see what is visible. I'm going to start up the planetarium program. And by the way, that app is made by the folks that make this wonderful planetarium program that I use, Sky Safari. So you're kind of guaranteed. They're an award-winning company, get amazing, some of the best planetarium features that you can have on your mobile device. It comes from this company called Simulation Curriculum that puts out Sky Safari. That's what I use here all the time, Sky Safari. And that's what this Eclipse app is based on. It's from the same software team. It's really amazing. So anyways, look at what we've got here. We've got the sky set up for Monday, October 9th. That's today as we're live streaming. This is what it'll look like after sunset, approximately in the mid-northern latitude of the world. And what you see is, of course, looking towards the southeast is our friend Saturn. The ringed planet is really in the navel region of Aquarius, the water bearer constellation, the zodiacal constellation. And this is, just after, dusk falls. So we're talking around 7:30 p.m. And in the evening, it kind of dominates the evening. If we go by hour, as it gets darker, you can see it dominates the southern skies. That's what Saturn does. And it's just an amazing planet. If you have a small telescope, you can really look at the rings of Saturn. So if I zoom in just to show you a simulation of that, It's really incredible because you see even the moons of Saturn. Saturn has an immense amount of moons, and it's amazing that even with a small telescope, you can actually see some of those moons. Here is what it would look like in this planetarium program. You can see the different, the brightest of all the moons of Saturn are there, and of course there is the ringed planet itself. This is pretty much what you would see in a small telescope using high power eyepieces to bring out the view. It's really something spectacular to see. It looks just like in magazines and photos that you've seen. You can see it with the eye. And what's incredible with, of course, Saturn is that it's located 1.3 billion kilometers away. It's so far away that the light takes over 75 minutes to reach your eye. It's just incredible. And of course, remember, when I'm saying reach your eye, you don't have to have a telescope to see Saturn. Of course, for the rings you do, but to see the planet itself, the reflected sunlight off the cloud tops of Saturn, that's something you can see even from the city. Even if you're stuck within a light-polluted city, Saturn is visible as long as you have a clear view towards the southeast southern skies. Anytime this week, this is something that you can see for yourself. Now, if we go and switch the view over towards the east, look at that. There's even a brighter planet that is going to knock your eyes out. It's Jupiter. Can't miss it. It's the brightest star-like object that's rising in the east all week long in the evening. So it's really something very easy to see. And I see here, John is asking, what's the relative brightness of Saturn? Well, if you look at what it is, if we can look at the magnitude, we're going to get a little technical here, but the magnitude is 0.6. So when we're talking about astronomical brightness, we're usually referencing the term magnitude, the visual magnitude. So the larger the negative number, okay, the larger, closer it goes to 0 and like -1, -2, -4, the larger the negative number, the brighter the object is, okay? And in case of Saturn, it's 0.6, and if we compare that to Jupiter, you can see it's kind of animated as a brighter dot. It is -2.8, so it's quite a bit brighter than Saturn. Jupiter is. And Saturn is going to be bright to the naked eye. Saturn and Jupiter even brighter. I mean, you won't be able to mistake it for anything else because its brightness just outshines everything else. And we're talking about Jupiter here. This is rising in the east in the evening time. So and as you guys are pointing out, Venus is -4 exactly, is even brighter. But hold on, we'll get to that in a minute too. But you can see that Jupiter is very close to a set of two other bright stars, Aldebaran and Capella, both less bright than Jupiter. So Jupiter still is the king of the three. There's no doubt about that. But you'll definitely be able to see these stars as well, even from city limits. They are that bright. These are some of the brightest stars in the entire heavens that we can see rising. This time of the year and heading into winter, or in the northern hemisphere, summer in the southern hemisphere, we are blessed with a lot of bright stars. So do check that out. That's really, really cool. If we continue going later into the night and seeing as these stars head higher into our local skies, this is around 11:30. There's 12:30. Look what we're having. We're having some of the traditional wintertime constellations in the northern hemisphere pop up very late at night, around midnight. They will be rising earlier and earlier in the coming weeks and months. So if you don't want to stay up and look at like Orion, the constellation Orion and Gemini, don't worry. If you just wait about a month or two, these constellations will be rising much earlier in the evening, and so you don't have to stay up that late. But if you really want to, you like to kind of get a preview of what's to come, then you just stay up much later until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you'll see those traditional wintertime constellations popping up. But what I'm trying to get to here is keep going and showing where the moon is. So if you're kind of up as an early bird around like 4:30, 5:30, 6:30. This is like 6:30 in the morning. What I want you to see here is we are looking at Tuesday, October 10th. So this is tomorrow morning as of this live stream. And I want you to be aware of this beautiful pairing between the crescent moon and Venus. Isn't that beautiful? The crescent moon and Venus. And of course, look how thin the crescent moon is. I want you to take a look at that. Look at that. Now, of course, the moon is heading to the new moon phase this October 14th. Remember, we have a solar eclipse that is coming up. Oh, hold on here. I'm getting a message here from my friends at AWB. Hey, great news. Remember the app I just told you about? Okay, so I've been given a thumbs up that I can actually give out 5 codes, free codes to the app coming up. So just stay tuned, bear with me. Let's do this thing. And at the end of this broadcast, I'll be giving away 5 free codes to this to the Apple App Store for this particular app, so you can have it for free and share it with friends and let people know about it. So that's great. 5. So I'll be giving away 5 of these free apps codes for that. Okay, so keep watching and maybe you'll be lucky with that. So here's the moon Tuesday morning with Venus. Super bright. And let's just take a look at the brightness value, exactly what it is for Venus. We were talking about magnitudes, right? So there you go. It's minus 4.5. It's really bright. It's 88 million kilometers away, and light takes just under 5 minutes for the light from Venus. Remember, the sunlight reflecting off the clouds of Venus is what you're seeing, and it's reflecting off, and it takes 5 minutes to reach your eye. Isn't that incredible? And it's at a beautiful, here you can see the actual orbit of Venus there. It's superimposed on this setting. Let me just take a look at that setting and see planet orbits and stuff. Selected object orbit. We'll just take that off. There you go. But look where the pair is located. It's in, you can see kind of a shaded view of Leo, the lion constellation. I'm just going to go back an hour, so where it's darker. So it's before dawn. Here I'm about 5:30 in the morning a.m. New York time, Washington, D.C., Montreal, Toronto, London, England, this kind of latitude we're talking about, this particular view. It'll orient it differently depending on where you are on the Earth, but we'll all get to see this Tuesday morning, the crescent moon pairing up with Venus inside Leo, the lion constellation. Really bright. And what will make this even more interesting is look what's in between the moon and Venus. A bright star called Regulus. Not quite as bright as Venus. Here we'll see what what it is. It's actually plus 1.4 magnitude, so it'll be greatly outshined by Venus. But you can see relatively this star that's so close to Venus, and it's, remember, 79 light years away. This is an actual star, and this is a planet. Venus is a planet, but Regulus is a star. Regulus is a star that's pumping out light. It's inherently producing light, right? It's a giant ball of gas with nuclear fusion going on, and it's pumping out copious amounts of light and energy. But it's 79 light years away. It takes 79 years for the light to reach your eye. You're looking back in time 79 years. When you're looking at Venus, you're looking back in time 5 minutes. When you're looking at the moon, you're looking back in time only 1 second. This shows you the relative distances of these objects, and they're all huddled. All these, one's a moon of a planet, one's a bona fide planet into itself, and then there's a star, all there shining in a cluster in the early morning skies of Tuesday, October 10th. So you don't want to miss this. Again, this is tomorrow. Get that alarm clock. Get out if you have clear skies. This is something absolutely beautiful. Highly recommend it to actually see this. So definitely take a look at that. I'm glad Richard's putting out a safely seeing the eclipse. Very good, with a link to time and date. Do go there. Check that out. It's really, sunglasses won't work. Absolutely right. You want to make sure that you watch your eyes. You don't want to stare at the sun. You can really cause damage, permanent damage. And You don't want to do that. To safely look at the eclipse, solar filter glasses are the best way, or do a pinhole projection. I don't know if you guys have actually looked at that before, but a pinhole projection is basically you have a piece of cardboard or paper, and you poke a little hole into it, right? So like that. Well, not like that, but maybe something like that. You poke a hole into it, and that hole is, you put this up and you put a second piece of paper below it like that, and then you're able to project the sunlight through that pinhole onto the second piece of paper. It's very simple to do, and it's called a pinhole projection way. And so you're indirectly looking at the crescent shaped sun through this pinhole projection. It's really easy. Maybe somebody can put up a specific thing for that, link for that, because that's a really easy way to do it. So anyways, back to this is October 10th. And then if we move off into the days to come, you'll see that the moon is even thinner. It's becoming thinner and thinner crescent every day. So this is Wednesday, October 11th. The 12th, the moon is even closer to the horizon, following the sun. You can see I've put it at 6:30. It's getting lost in the glow of the sunrise. That's because the moon is heading into an encounter with the sun on October 14th. So you can see this play out every morning. If you want to see that moon, that's going to be the center of attention this coming Saturday. You can see it getting an ever thinner crescent shape as we go on. This is Thursday, and by Friday, look at that, the moon is just above the sun there. If we just move it a little bit higher, you'll see the sun is right underneath the trees here in my simulation. And by Saturday, there it is, the moon is covering the sun. And remember, it's an annular eclipse, a ring of fire eclipse, so there'll be a thin little ring of sun visible because the moon will be slightly smaller in its size than the sun. And you can see this is the view during the eclipse from in orbit. There is the moon. There is the sun. You can see the sun right behind the moon. And this is how dark the moon will appear from our vantage point. If I turn this around, you'll see the Earth. There's the Earth in the background, right? So the moon is in front of the sun. And if I just zoom out, you can see the orbit of the moon. There's the Earth. And if we just keep zooming out, you'll see the sun. There's the sun, moon, and Earth all aligned up perfectly. And that's where you get an eclipse forming on the surface of the Earth because of the shadow of the moon being cast on the Earth in the background. You can see right there. So this is one of the most amazing kind of things that you can see in the sky, is seeing a solar eclipse. It's just a grand thing to see. So there you go. That's basically the big things this week. Other than that, I would really love if you guys go out in the night and check out. If I just zoom in here at night, you've seen the planets, but because the moon is out of the way, you get to see some really cool deep sky objects as well. And of course, one of the ones that you can see this time of the year is the constellation Pegasus, right here, and Andromeda. These are constellations that are high in the sky above Jupiter and Saturn. You can see there's Jupiter and there's Saturn. We're above in the southeastern sky at night. Once it gets dark, anytime this week would be great to look at this giant, you can see this giant square. It's called the Great Square of Pegasus. And it's literally 4 stars. They are just about visible from a typical suburban sky of a city. If you're located in a large city, if you're in the suburbs, you can see this. You can't see it from downtown, but from a suburb you can. And these 4 stars, visible to the naked eye, form this giant square. And this is the chest of Pegasus, the flying horse. So I would definitely check that out. Andromeda is connected. The princess, the fabled princess, you could see is connected to Pegasus. And there is, of course, the giant, the closest spiral galaxy, large galaxy next to the Milky Way, Andromeda Galaxy, visible there. I'll talk more about that next week. And in the coming weeks, there's lots to see. There's Cassiopeia, it looks like a giant W in the sky. There's Perseus visible as well. And you'll see a lot of, if you scan this part of the sky with binoculars, it's absolutely impressive because there's a lot of star clusters. There's a lot of galaxies if you have a telescope to hunt them down, even beyond the Andromeda. And we'll talk about all those things, clusters and galaxies. It's kind of like a window out of our own home Milky Way, this part of the sky. That's why you don't see too many stars, right? You'll notice there's a lack of bright stars in this part of the sky, the southern sky, late at night, this time of the year. That's because it's a window out of our own home galaxy. It's really very cool. And we'll be exploring that in the coming weeks. So, my friends, here we are. Thank you so much for joining me again. How about we give out five different codes, and I'm going to give it out to anyone watching. Doesn't matter if you're on what platform, put it into the comments. I'm going to give it to the first 5 people who say the word night sky guy. Okay, first 5 people who put in the comments the night sky guy, those words, I will give out free codes. So 5 free codes giving out for the Eclipse app, the one Eclipse app by Astronomers Without Borders. You'll have a copy of that and share it with your friends, hopefully, and spread the word so we can do good in the world, doing Eclipse glasses recycling. So say the word the night sky guy, type those out in there, and the first 5 will have a free code. I'm so happy I can do that. Thank you, Astronomers Without Borders, for allowing me to do that today. It's fantastic. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about the night sky, don't forget to check out my book, Backyard Guide to the Night Sky by National Geographic. It is considered a bestseller. Thank you so much, National Geographic. And it was just wonderful to write this book, and I'm so happy that you guys are enjoying that. I have another book out called The Stargazer's Atlas, which I am a co-author on with an amazing team of writers at National Geographic. But I basically wrote all this stuff regarding touring the night sky, the constellations, the mythology, all 88 constellations visible around the world is the heart of this atlas. It is an amazing 6.5-pound book. It's huge and physically. So it's not something you want to carry around, definitely, but it's something that you want to probably have fun with on a cloudy day like it is right now for me. It's cloudy and rainy, and this is the type of book that you want to kind of use to figure out what to see in the night sky. It's really handy to have. And I'm selling those signed, personally dedicated copies, international sales from my website, thenightskyguy.com. So I'll put a link in the comments for that as well. Stay tuned for my sky charts. Everything I talked about, I'll have sky charts for on my timelines. So if you find value in this video, remember, please do consider subscribing, giving it a thumbs up, and sharing my video. It means a lot to me. Subscribing to my channel allows me to bring these videos to you every week. And I see you guys are there. Thank you so much for joining. I'll look through it and I'll make an announcement on the comment section of the winners of those codes, and you'll be receiving I'll try to message you if we can message through Facebook, and I'll get you or an email. You can leave your emails and I'll get you those codes to you. So thank you so much for joining. I hope to see you next week. Stay safe and healthy. And until next video, I wish all of you guys clear skies. Bye-bye.